Hi, this is Gina with Paint and Palette, and I am going to be taking you through this next painting for the Anyone Art Box. It's another project. So this is a funky sunflower. I say ooh and ah. So what I want to say is that before we get started, you can think about in your mind, you've got every color in the palette, what you want this to look like. So you can change up the colors. I'm going to take you through step by step, but you can make it your own. If you wanted to make the actual flower differently, if you wanted to make the background differently, just go for it. Or you can follow me exactly how I'm going through the painting. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm using my canvas for this one. The last painting that we did, I used the wood canvas. So you're welcome to choose whichever one you want. You've got a wood canvas in there, and then you've got a canvas. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the canvas for this one. I think it'll look nice, and I'm gonna put it in this direction, not horizontal, but vertical. And again, you can get wild and crazy and go this way instead of that way, but I'm using my easel as well. So I'm gonna set it right there. And it's been a lot of fun working with the different types of materials and being able to paint on these smaller canvases. It's so fun. So since you're at home, you can do this and take your time. Feel free to pause me, stop, work on a certain area or a certain step, and then resume whenever you're ready. Let's go ahead and get started. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the center. So you've got two options here. You can paint the whole entire background first and then paint the flower over it, which is I think what we did here. But since you're at home and you have a little bit more time, I'm going to go over the way to do it to where we're actually going to paint the flower first and then do the background. You have a little more time to get specific and get detailed to get in between there. So I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And to start with, I'm going to go ahead and sketch my flowers out with yellow, my flower petals, and the center. So since this is funky, if you would rather do this to where you just make the flower completely round in the center and then make straight petals, you're welcome to do that too. There's so many options here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my canvas and act like I'm splitting it in half. And on that top half in the middle, I'm going to go ahead and make my first lines. And what they're going to be is a little bit curvy. So I'm going to take yellow. You use yellow. I'm going to add a little bit of the black to it just so that you can see it a little better since I'm giving you instruction and it's on video. I want you to be able to see it. But go ahead and just use your yellow right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to above the halfway point. And I'm just going to make these little wavy lines that kind of connect and make a center. So I'll show you that. So it's a little bit funky. It's kind of all over the place and not round. If you want to go round and that's the look you're going for, go for it. Okay. And then I'm going to use that same color, and again, you're using yellow, make my petals. So I'm going to start making them to where they're a little funky. They're going to come from the center. Now, one thing that I will say is that in all the times I've done this, when you actually add the petals, you want to try to make sure there's not space in between them or it starts looking like missing teeth. So if you want that look artistically, go for it. But what we're going to do here is try to make all of the petals touch as they come out of the center. And you can see these petals are almost all the way down to the bottom of the canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and bring those all the way down and make them really funky. And the other ones go off the canvas. So here I go. And again, like I said, you can make this way and just make it really full all over the canvas too. So I'm going to start here and make a full petal. And what I'm doing is trying to make it a little curvy. It starts a little smaller when you're at the center and then it comes out a little bit and then comes to a point. Again, you have options. You can make it more round can do a lot of different things there. Okay. See that? And then I'm just going to keep going. So again, my paint is a little bit more dark than yours so that you can see it a little bit better. Here's the thing too, in art, there are no mistakes. So when you're going through this and you think, that's not the, stroke that I wanted to make, it doesn't look right, just go back and adjust it, adjust it and adjust it and adjust it. We're going to be painting over all of this, and so that now's the time to go through and adjust it. Pause me as many times as you want. And you can get your snacks and your wine or your juice boxes and your fish crackers and join me in that. Okay. And just really have fun with this. Take those all the way around. And naturally where they'd go off the canvas is, when you're making those petals all the way around, you just continue to take them as if they're going off the canvas. I'm not really leaving any space there. I'm taking it all the way off. And just start continuing with those petals all the way around. And I said this in the other video, this is about the time I tell you to look at a neighbor and tell them how amazing their painting looks so far. So don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. This is all about having a good time. Okay, so I'm just continuing to take that around there. I'm going to make another couple here. And there are spaces in between the petals at the top. Some of the places you can fill that in or just continue going with it. Okay, until I have the whole thing filled in. This one I can see I might make a little fuller. So then just kind of look back and adjust and readjust and see what you like, what you want to change. And when me or my other artists do this, it always looks different every time. So just keep adjusting, and then we're going to keep going with it. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and I'm going to start filling in my leaves with red. So I'm taking red. You can make a burgundy red. Not my leaves, I'm sorry. My petals. You can make it a burgundy red by mixing red with a little bit of black. You can make this flower yellow. You can make it pink, purple. Purple is red and blue. You can make it green. But what I'm going to do is we're going to do body colors so that you can see it's different around the whole entire flower. So I'm going to make, red at where it touches the middle, and I'm going to make the strokes that go from the center and the same line as your petal. So I'm not going against the line like this. I'm not doing horizontal. I'm going long ways against the petal, and I'm going to start adding some of those lines in. And it's just really loose. I'm not putting a straight line at the edge, but I'm going to just start at the middle and add those strokes going in the direction of the petal. Like I said, I added a little bit of black to my red just to make it a little bit more burgundy. You can do whatever you're wanting. Make sure that you can see that. So I'm going all the way around and just adding that to the bottoms of my petals. You can do really solid petals if you'd prefer instead of doing this, but again, see how I'm just making that go all the way in the petals. And you can change your petals up about now. If you wanted different shapes, you can change the shape down at the bottom. Okay. And what I'm going to do too is while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and add some red along the petals. But just again, haphazardly. I'm not going to add red to every single petal unless you want it to look really uniform. If you do, that's great. And it will look nice, but see, I'm going to do a stroke here, a stroke there, and come in between some of them. So that's how I'm going to start it. And then I'm going to keep going around like that and experiment with it. Or you can follow me exactly. And so again, some of them will have red along the whole entire edges and some won't. So I'm skipping some of the petals. And again, I'm showing you every step. So if you do want to follow along exactly, go ahead and do each step as I do it. Okay. I know we have all different personalities. Some people like to do their own thing. Some people, you know, want the specific instruction, and both are great. It's just knowing what you want to do. So I might add some to the tip here as well. It's kind of fun. And then what I'm going to do next, so I've gone ahead and filled those in. I'm going to take some yellow and start filling in those places that don't have red on the petals. So I'll show you right here. And it's blending with some of the red as well. Again, this is very funky and fluid and chunky and fun. Kind of look back, you can step back and kind of look at what you're doing. Is this exactly what I was going for? You can adjust it. I'm just turning it towards me so that you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow here. So you can see that some of it's turned out a little bit orange. I could fill in a little bit of a petal here if I wanted to. Maybe just use red, and that darker red. And then after you're done with that, what we're going to do is fill in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this blue. Okay, and you can make whatever color blue you want, but I'm going to go along the lines and just dab, dab, dab all the way in the center. I'm using my brush and dabbing like this all the way around there and getting that center in there. Okay, just taking that color. So again, have fun with your colors. And then what I'm going to do is take some blue and mix it with a little white because I want my blue just a tiny bit lighter. And then I'm going to paint the entire background. And I'm just going to make it a little streaky. Now here is an opportunity for you to cover up some of your petals if you feel like you made them too big, or change the petals. But I'm going in between each of those petals the same direction again, and painting in the background. And again, like I said, every time we paint it looks a little different. Doing it, you've got options. With this way, you've got a lot more blue in the background, or whatever color you choose. This way you've got a lot more, the red and yellow shows up a lot more. So both are really fun. again, I'm just going through and filling those places in. I'm going to go up here and continue to fill this in between, okay, wherever you might have some background color coming through, just go ahead and fill those places in as well. And if you need to, you can let the flower dry a little bit before you start doing the background. I'm just going to keep going here, but you're welcome to do that if it's bleeding together as you're painting in. And right about now, you could do a cheers with your juice box, with whoever's there with you, or cheers to a friend online, or just cheers to yourself for getting creative and joining us in this project. Okay. Then you can go through and add some texture. You can add some white or more blue. And if you want to change the shape of anything, now's a great time to do that. We're just, okay, so we've painted that whole thing in. Found another space over here. I wanted to go ahead and paint in blue. Okay. And then what we're going to do is add some more color to the center. So in the center, I'm going to start and I'm going to do a little bit of red and just put some dots in there. Okay, again, we're doing some texture here. So I'm just going to add some red dots to the center. Boom, 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 boom. You're taking your brush and it's just this dabbing technique. And I'm going to add some bright yellow right on top of it. So it had the blue already. I'm grabbing some of that yellow and just adding really chunky bits of yellow on top of the red. I don't know if you can see that clearer. And then I'm going to add some white chunky dabs on top. And then so can do next, and then take some time. You can adjust some of your petals. And what you can do in the middle, if you'd like, is take some of that black and outline the center in those same lines that you put to begin with. You can do this. You don't have to do this. It just makes the center stand out a bit more. Again, another layer. Okay. And that is the funky flower. Again, you can go through and I even see when I'm looking up there, I could add more red higher, even it out a little bit. So I'm just taking some red and adding it further in the petals and making some of that a little bit more cohesive. Fun. So I'm happy with that. That's a really fun painting. Like I said, it looks different every time we do it. I hope you've really enjoyed your time, and can't wait to see you next time. Thank you. Mwah.